Me? Flying long-haul economy? Yep, that's right, it's time again. And for this flight, I was joined by some special guests, good friends of mine, the self-titled cattle class couple. Our trip started from Brisbane International Airport, this being my second time flying out from here, and as far as I could tell, it wasn't really any different compared to back in 2019. Our flight today was QF61, from Brisbane to Tokyo Narita Airport on board a Qantas Airbus A330-300. The Qantas check-in counters were towards the far end, and it was a DIY bag tag and bag drop affair. I'm not really sure when Brisbane's peak times are, but there seemed to be sufficient kiosks for the amount of people, and we soon had our boarding passes.
By the way, everyone watching, we're going economy. Cattle class.
We made our way through the yellow departure gates and down to security, which was actually quite time-consuming and poorly organised. Eventually, we ended up in the main terminal area, which had great views of the apron and all the planes around. There was an interesting art installation, and we made our way to the gate for our flight. Here's the plane that would be taking us to Japan. After waiting for a while, my mate enlightened us with some incredible commentary, and we boarded. The Qantas A330 has a two-class configuration, with 28 business and 269 economy class seats. There is no premium economy offered, which is a bit of a shame because it's something I'd consider upgrading to when flying to Asia. Unfortunately, no business class today, we gotta keep walking all the way to the back. But if you do want to see more of the Qantas business suite, I've uploaded a couple of videos on it. One on an A330 and another one on the Dreamliner from LA all the way back to Melbourne. We hit the economy cabin, which was laid out in a 242 configuration and narrows down to 232 towards the tail. Flying as a trio made it awkward trying to choose where to sit, and as you'll see, we ended up rotating a bit and playing musical chairs throughout the flight. The seats themselves looked fine, nothing remarkable at first glance, but there are a few touches which help lift it to an above average hard product in my opinion. Finally, we made it to the back of the bus, to my first seat of the flight, 58A. As I'm sure you've already seen on all the other seats, there was a blanket, pillow and headphones placed on the seat base. Having a closer look at the seat, the IFE screen was a great size, with the headphone jack and a USB charging port underneath. The central mesh pocket was a great spot to keep phones, glasses or other knickknacks without having to lose them in the main lower seat back pocket. Plus, it's slightly easier to reach as well. The table folded out in two parts, although this one was a bit wonky. And of course, the regular seat back pocket, complete with magazine and safety card. Looking at the seat back, the headrest was height adjustable, along with the folding sides, which usually help to keep your head in place, but these ones looked a bit useless to be honest. Now I present to you my favourite feature of the Qantas economy seat. Instead of a traditional footrest bar, Qantas opted for this pouch looking thing, which you use to support your feet and legs. The elastic straps were strong, and it really helped to take some pressure off my feet and legs. The pillow was impressive, great size and feel. The blanket came wrapped in plastic and was also okay, not particularly scratchy or anything. The headphones left a lot to be desired, but I suppose an on-ear design is still a step up compared to the earbud style headphones you might get on other airlines. If you travel often, I'd strongly recommend investing in your own set of noise cancelling headphones. The safety video played and we pushed back to make our way to Tokyo. Once the seatbelt sign was turned off, we made our first seat swap, and I moved to the centre section to take seat 58D. This turned out to be the best trade, as the people in 58E and F moved over to two free window seats, and I ended up with a row of 3 seats to myself, in a poor man's business class. The crew handed out bottles of water, and I took some time to appreciate my newfound freedom and space. One of the passengers in the row in front had reclined his seat, so this shows you what to expect. Then the other aisle passenger reclined as well, so I just moved to the middle seat, which ended up being kept upright the entire flight. A previous passenger had also taken the time to add some decoration to the seat back. Given everyone else was reclining, I'd figured I'd do the same as well. Honestly, the recline was decent and overall the seat was comfortable to sit and relax. Privacy is obviously not really a thing in economy class, but sitting in the middle and having two empty seats next to me did help me feel like I had my own little space on the plane. I got cozy with my blanket and stuck my feet in the footnet. I know I said it before, but this really is an awesome feature of the Qantas economy class seat. The IFE screen was nice and responsive to the touch. There were plenty of movies and shows, but it did take a while for the menus to load when clicking through the options. The food and beverage service started with a nut mix and a choice of drink. The nut mix was fairly substantially sized, which was good as well. For the main meal, there was a choice of spicy chicken with soy sauce or beef adobo with potatoes. I chose the chicken, and it was served on a small tray with warm bread and drinks. I don't know what it is, but Qantas catering can be so hit or miss. The chicken was not spicy at all, and it was just plain chicken with soy. The rice was unbelievably mushy, and the whole dining experience was just like eating a bunch of warm slop. The chicken portion was also a bit small. I wouldn't even call the meal average, this was well below par. To top it off, the wooden cutlery made the experience feel really cheap and nasty as well. I appreciate that this may be a more sustainable choice, but I hope someone finds a way to make nicer knives and forks. Given I wasn't content with the chicken, I asked if there were any spare adobos left over, and one of the crew came back with the beef for me. Someone must have mixed up the descriptions because the adobo was spicy, and thankfully the beef portion was much more generous than the chicken. It still wasn't a great meal, but it was better than the chicken, that's for sure. For dessert, we were offered some ice cream, which hit the spot, and then we finished off with a single Tim Tam. All in all, the service was efficient, and we were done and dusted around 2 hours after takeoff. I sat back to watch a movie until I eventually decided to make the most of my free seats and have a nap instead. Obviously, 4 seats would give you even more room to stretch out, but 3 seats were just enough for me to lie down relatively comfortably. Unbeknownst to me, my friends decided to get some behind the scenes footage of me enjoying my nap. Said friends also woke me up a few hours later when it was time to play musical chairs and rotate again, so that someone else could enjoy the extra seats. I took my 3rd seat for the flight in 58B, and enjoyed some snacks from the galley as well as some BYO snacks we brought ourselves. I also want to mention that the crew made very frequent laps of the plane, offering water to those not asleep. With about an hour and a half to go, the second meal service began. This time the options were miso beef and some type of pasta dish that I forgot. As you can see, I chose the beef, which was served with horrendously wet and overcooked rice just like the first meal. The beef was also sloppy, and it was just another below average meal from Qantas. Thankfully, the brownie for dessert was amazing, and I could have easily smashed a couple more of those. So, what did I think of Qantas's economy class on the A330? Overall, it was fine. The ground experience was okay, and I'd say the hard product on board is above average for an economy class seat. The main letdown on this flight was the quality of the food. Both the lunch and dinner services were pretty bad, and the only good food was the pre-packaged stuff. Now, this could be down to something as simple as a bad day of cooking at wherever the food is made, but ideally you shouldn't have such inconsistency in food standards just because you leave from one city and not another. On a positive note, the crew were friendly and definitely made their presence felt throughout the flight by coming around and offering water and the occasional snack as well. It would be interesting to see how the likes of ANA or Japan Airlines compare on the same routes to Australia, but I'd have no problems doing another daytime flight in Qantas economy.